Hey guys, you're back with another amazing episode of In Gear Clitcast. I'm sorry, In Gear Podcast. I'm Torpedo Jones. That's Jehovah's Witness. And we're back here and we're going to just get it going with this next episode, which will be episode 18.
Hell yeah, I'm excited for another great episode, brother.
It's coming up episode 18, man. They're coming up, man. We're going to get to 25 in no
We're
time.
just stacking eps.
That's the thing. That's what you could expect from a couple of guys like us. We care about you, and that's why we post these.
Yeah, we're here for you, which is like being here for ourselves.
Exactly. And the people have questions, and that's what we're here for. And speaking of questions, let's get into some emails and some comments. I figure might as well hit the comments first, and we'll do the emails. I'm looking at 7 separate emails here from 5-6 different people, so we might as well hit up a few of these. But hit us with those comments first. What do you got?
Well, I've got one here that stands. Let me try that again. Back us up, Sean.
And
I got one here that reads, it's from Ted Muller. Great episode, guys. The best quote, in my opinion, was Justin when he said, "I wipe back to front like a goddamn American." Or, yeah, front to back. I read that wrong.
Yeah.
I guess I must be dyslexic or something.
Or retarded. Here's the thing. Yes, front to back, dope. That's the way it should be. I can't think of one person I know that wipes back to front. Because like we spoke on that one episode, there's just that slight chance that you might get some diarrhea on your ball sack.
Yeah.
And you don't want
that. For reference, this is on episode 16 if anyone wants to go back and listen.
There you go. So thank you, Ted, for the comment. We obviously enjoy all your comments and stuff like that. So,
well, I try not to, shit my balls as much as possible.
We don't want shit balls, dude. I don't know who out there, and if you're listening and you like shitty balls, you're fucking weird. And we don't like it. And it's not cool.
That's weird. I thought you liked shit balls.
No, see, that's really weird because I know you're really into that, and sometimes you confuse that with what I like. But I get where
you can't just say what I say back to me, dude. That makes you a piece of shit.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that. So here's the thing. So was that the comment? Do we have any other good ones? I know we had some few. There's some people I know. We got some McDonald dude that's commenting first all the time, which we do appreciate. He's always the one that's I don't know. I don't
even know if he actually watches the episode or he just comments first. Hey, McDonald, if you watch the episode, comment something other than first.
Yeah, maybe something cool.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
All right. So,
and then we got one from Caitlin that reads, "Let me just sit quietly in the corner and shit myself." I think it's a reference to something you said in that same episode.
No. It was when we had Pirelli on the show, and she was in pre-K, and she was in the corner quietly shitting herself.
That's right.
And then they lined them all up like a fucking firing squad and checked all their pants.
Could you imagine that? Now, fortunately, she was a child, and the embarrassment's probably long past.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they line you all up. You know you're the shitter.
Yeah, there's no getting out of that.
You're not going to be able to hide it for very long.
Nope, not at all.
And certainly she did not.
Nope, and they found it. They found the shitter. So we appreciate all the comments. It's super dope, and we love the interaction. So keep it up, and we'll always, try to respond to them. And sometimes we go a week or two without responding, and we kind of catch up on it and whatnot. But hey,
yeah,
we're doing the best we can.
Give us more. Give us all you got.
So
give me all you got, Daddy.
I got a question for you. Do you want to start out with a little raunchy? I want to end the email segment with something a little more what's it called? A little more what's it called when you're very rich and famous and cultured? Maybe cultured. I want to end the email with something that's a little more serious.
We're high class guys.
Yeah, high class guys. So let's go raunchy then. Let's go raunchy.
I think we can handle that.
So I get an email that says, "Hey, now I have directions. I've got directions here on how to read this email."
Oh, I would read it probably from left to right.
No, he gave me directions on how to do it.
That's good to know.
So it's a 1-question thing. It goes, "Hey guys, back at it again. Just thought of something that I need you guys to answer. Would you rather have a bad hand job from your grandmother or a good hand job from your grandmother?"
All right, fans, we're gonna have to do a little better.
Hold on. The responses you have to answer because he has a paragraph of why you should answer the way you should afterwards. So what do you think? Would you rather have a good hand job from your grandmother or a bad one? Just answer it. It's really simple because the paragraph.
Yeah, real simple question. Oh, I forgot to say something earlier.
What?
Sombrero.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and say good hand job, because if you're forced to get one or the other, why would you want it to be bad?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I definitely would agree. Like, good. Get it over with as quick as possible.
Yeah, maybe it'll go quickly.
So his answer is, you guys have to read this after you guys answer. My answer is, I would rather a good hand job, because why would I want it to last any longer than it has to? And also, hopefully it makes her self-esteem go up, thinking to herself, yeah, I still got it. Back at it again, Arizona can Sean. Thanks, guys.
Because that's what you're really worried about in that situation, is how much that your grandmother is enjoying the experience. You're like, man, I hope she's getting a lot out of this. Maybe she's feeling young and spry, and this is really going to, it'll be something she'll talk about in church next weekend or something.
Her self-esteem, right? Fuck, man. All right. Well, good question. I like questions like that.
It's a question.
It's a question, So then we got another guy. He says this. Panny Chacon says, hey, what's your plans with the Subi? And will you be the next Ken Block?
Well, I think that's clearly a question for you, because it is your car.
I was waiting for you to respond. So I don't know, chime in and kind of get where I'm coming from on this. So plans with the Subaru. Right now it's built to where I want it. It's a good daily driver. I drive the car every day, right? The power it makes is great. And I feel like for a daily driver, it's decent. It's not one of those cars that has crazy amounts of horsepower where it's almost a chore to drive it everywhere. You know what I mean? And
it's already a chore to drive it with that stage 2 clutch.
I know, and it's not even like a stage.
Why don't you explain what it's like to drive that car with that stage 2?
Well, it's just on or off. It's There's no more I call it the butter zone. On you had that standard Sonic.
You can't slip the clutch.
You can't really slip it. It's and you drove it when I first got it, and you've been driving standard your whole life. And I was like, hey, Justin, just to let you know, I know you've driven standard, but the clutch is really different. I remember you stalled it like 6 or 7 times coming out of my driveway in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah, it's very difficult to drive.
But it holds the power well, and it just makes all the difference. So the car right now is where I want it to be. If I had expendable income and I got to the point where I wanted to do something unique and cool with it, I would honestly go, because right now it has the EJ25. Right. I'd go with the EJ20.
Engine swap, though. I mean, I think there's plenty you could do before you reach the point of engine swapping.
Well, no, so the engine's built where I want it to be.
Right.
I don't really want to do anything else. The engine's built for 600 horsepower. It's running mid 450, right? That's fine. That's reliable. But if
you could do things like stance, coilovers, bags, brakes.
I am not a big, I think I'd do a suspension maybe. I'm not a rims guy. I'm not a looks guy at all. I'm all about performance. I can give a shit less about what the car looks like. I'm all about the performance of the car. Yeah. I don't care what it looks like. And that's not to shit on guys. There's people out there who make some really nice looking cars.
You bet.
And that's awesome. That's cool. Just for me personally, I'm not interested in that. So if it came to the next, let's just put it this way. If it came to the next big build, say I get another car and I'm like, hey, I have extra money to throw at this car. Yeah. I'd go with an EJ20. And for a very specific reason. If I had the money, I would go with an EJ20 closed deck block, because in a bunch of our episodes, in the very beginning, I talked to you about the differences between the EJ20 and the EJ25.
Yeah, you did.
2 liter versus 2.5. It basically looks like the 2 liter, they bored it out to a 2.5. So your cylinder walls are that much thinner. And when it comes down to creating massive amounts of boost, it doesn't hold it that well. I mean, you've heard of 4G63s and Mitsubishi Evo engines running I think the world record, it was like a 1200 horsepower 4-cylinder. It made 75 pounds of boost. Insane amounts of boost.
That's
absurd, right?
Yeah.
So that's triple, almost quadruple what I'm running now. So I would go with an EJ20 swap, bump the STI, which comes with a 2.5 liter, down to a 2 liter, an older gen 2 liter. And then I would get a closed deck, obviously, and I would run massive amounts of boost, because obviously more air, more fuel, more power.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my goal with the Subaru at that point. Like I said, I think it's a reasonable car. It's where I want it now.
Now, what about the fact that you're losing a considerable amount of displacement when you go down to the 2.0?
Make up for it in boost.
You think you make up for all that displacement?
There are plenty of 2 liters. If you look in the Honda scene, right, they have the B20, the B20, and in some cases they'll do the VTEC, head swap, and there'll be a B20V, or what is it? Audi makes a 2 liter. Volkswagen makes a 2 liter, and these 2 liters make great, serious amounts of power, way more than what I'm making now. So if I'm looking I don't know, like, I feel like I'm not looking to get into the 1,000 horsepower range, but if I'd like to make something stupid, I think reliability comes into question too. If I can get an EJ20 and run stupid power, high boost, and make it reliable, that matters to me also.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are plenty of cars out there. You never claim that your car is the most horsepower, but I mean, you've got these cars that are horsepower monsters, and that's fine.
Insane.
But you know, you've got what I consider a well-rounded vehicle. It's got definitely higher than your average bear in the horsepower department. It's got that all-wheel drive. It's got a lower center of gravity than most cars out there.
Yeah.
It can do a lot of things that those horsepower monsters can't necessarily do. And a lot of those things, they just want to put the biggest number up, and they don't really care about the rest of the car at all.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how fast you go if you can't direct it in the direction you want to go, right? It doesn't matter if you're making 1,000 if you can't control the 1,000 of the horsepower. And that's what it comes down to, like track, right? And unfortunately, out here in Hawaii, there are no tracks that I know of. I know they're working on Circuit Oahu, which is in development right now, and that's going to be one of their first racetracks in Hawaii. They used to have a drag strip, I was told, and then it it was years and years ago, and then it got shut down. So really, like all it is just highway poles, and that's all you get. There's not really much that you can do track wise safely.
Yeah.
Unless you're going down H3 over onto the other side of the island where you go through those tunnels and there's all those switchbacks and stuff like that. But still, you know, you run into the dangerous aspect of that where like you're endangering other people's lives. And that's the big thing for me too. I think, you know, hey, it's cool to go on the highway and do a massive pull and like get up in some numbers, you know, go pretty fast. But you risk other people's lives every time you do that.
Well, you know what's weird about Hawaii too, since you brought that into the mix, is out here on the highways of Hawaii, H1, H2, even H3, you'll see, you know, old pieces of shit cars, just daily drivers and beaters. You'll see obviously plenty of Mustangs or Challengers, stuff like that. And then you will see, like it's no big deal, Ferraris, Tesla Lamborghinis, because this island is a resort as much as anything else. And there's a lot of money on this island. And so you will see some very exotic cars that are pretty out of place at different times.
Yeah.
Like it's just no big deal.
I think we were going to work. I think maybe we were together, but we rolled up on a Lamborghini Gallardo. Gallardo, yes.
Yep.
Gallardo, yeah. The Lamborghini.
Gelato?
Gelato. Yeah. Gelato. The Lamborghini Gelato, you know. And that was super cool, you know. And just like you like you said, you'll see these weird cars that almost seem out of place at certain points. And I haven't gotten really into the car scene yet, but I know a bunch of my buddies at work are always saying, you got to come out, you got to see. And you know, our one buddy, Prince, he's got that Mark IV Supra.
Yeah.
And he went to a few meets and he said, hey, man, like apparently it's like horsepower central out here. Like there are some crazy, crazy builds, which is.
I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah.
No.
And we need to go to a couple of those meets, maybe get some videos of the meets and put them up on the show. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm not a big car meet guy. I don't know.
It's weird that you're not a big car meet guy since you are kind of a meat guy.
What do you mean a meat guy?
I mean, you love meat.
No, I don't love meat. Do you love meat?
You're a meat guy.
Contrary to popular belief, I am not a meat guy. I'm a whole guy, if that makes sense.
No.
Yeah, no. So let me roll into the next email here, which actually has a lot of good topics that I think we can both touch on. So here it is. I'm going to read the whole email. There's 3 questions in here. I'll read the whole email, and then we'll go back through each one.
Okay.
So number 1, would you date someone knowing they cheated on their last partner? Number 2, what are your thoughts on polyamorous relationships? And number 3, if you could date one celebrity, who would it be and why? That guy, Carl Schmidt, at Keep in Tune with Carl Schmidt, and he has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of good segments on just, you know, dating culture and stuff in today's society. So we'll probably link his page in here just, you know, because, you know, we're talking about it. He sent us an email. It's easy enough for us just to link that in here. But that's basically what Carl Schmidt said with Intune. So my question, let's go with the first one. Would you date someone knowing they cheated on their last partner?
So
it's a tough one.
I'm not immediately saying no. Mm-hmm. I need to know more about the situation. What was going on?
Yeah.
Like, Under certain circumstances, I suppose I would say yes.
Yeah. I mean, like if a girl came to you and she was like, hey, I'm in this relationship. He's very physically abusive, emotionally abusive, and I just happened to cheat on him because I had to get away. I needed something, or, whatever the case. There's so many different scenarios where, and I'm not saying that cheating is the right thing at all,
No.
but I can say that I understand why some people in certain situations would feel the need. And I'm not saying like that in a sense to justify cheating, because I don't think cheating is right in any way, shape, or form. But if you think about it, like a scenario like this, what if you have a husband and a wife, right?
Yeah.
And the husband's in good health, or the woman's in good health, but their spouse is like bedridden for years. You're taking care of them. Like there has to be a certain portion of that person that there's needs. We all have animalistic and very basic needs, right? So I feel like you said, I wouldn't immediately say no, but if it came down to it, I would need some more information about it.
And what was the question? Would you date this person or
Would
marry
you
them?
date someone?
I would date them, and then I would begin to learn more about it. Like,
Yeah.
I would be cautious. I'd be interested. I'd be looking for warning signs and red flags that this is more of a habitual problem for this person.
Exactly.
So I would probably date them, but it would definitely
It'd be a process.
It'd pique my interest to see what's really going on here for sure.
I agree with you. I feel like it would be like you said, kind of looking out for those red flags, kind of seeing what's going on. Is this a habitual problem? Or maybe it was they were together with this person for a long time and, shit just didn't work out. Or, there's so many scenarios and situations that go into that question that, like I said, I'm not dignifying cheating because I don't think it's the right thing to do.
No.
But I can understand that people have needs and people have to satisfy those needs. And that actually, without going too deep into this, that reminds me of, a situation that, I once experienced where, I knew this couple and the guy's wife was, super sick and, he was taking care of her. And unfortunately, he there's certain needs that needed to be fulfilled on his end. It's not that he didn't love her or he didn't care for her, but, at some point, you can spend all your time taking care and treating this person and like doing all you can, but you need something out of it. I don't think when it boils down to it, right, we're all animals. And that's like, there's another conversation that comes into play. We're all animals, and realistically, we're not meant to be with one person forever. We've evolved into the society that says we need to be with one person for a long amount of time. But if you look at it in an animalistic, evolutionary way, we're meant to be bigger than the other person, go find a woman, breed, reproduce, and continue the population. And that's where, I don't know if it's called survival of the fittest, but it's basically like, when two bucks, are fighting over a doe, right? The biggest one wins and they breed or whatever the fuck. I don't know if it like deer is a really good like example of that, but I wonder if you like kind of understand where I come from this, right? It's that
I think I understand.
that dominant animalistic figure has to earn or win that female to breed with them, reproduce, make kids that are fit in shape and continue on. So we have this sort of population or demographic of that species that's strong and fit, right?
No.
What do you mean no?
No.
Okay, continue.
There are examples of species of animals that will mate for life.
Okay. What do you mean?
So that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, animals, they go around and screw each other every which way, so we can do it too, because there are plenty of examples where that doesn't happen.
Are you referring to penguins?
Among others.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then, we all have urges and needs. And if your wife, husband, whoever were to fall sickly and unable to perform their physical duties,
needs.
it still doesn't make it right.
I know. I'm not dignifying it at all. It's a hot topic. I'm not dignifying cheating. I'm not saying yes, that's the right thing to do. But I can understand as myself, like I can understand where I might need some needs that aren't getting fulfilled, right? A lot of the times when people cheat and stuff like that, they're looking for something that they're not getting. And say you're with a girl, right?
Yeah.
And she gives you the best sex ever.
Yeah.
Everything you want to do, you're getting that. That's getting fulfilled for you. But there's no emotion. There's no emotional, there's no love connection there like that. You try to find that in different areas. That's why all these one night stands and these hookups it's just sex, right? And that's all how it is. But you have multiple of those. And then eventually you might settle down and find someone who emotionally connects with you and fulfills those other portions. It's a spectrum in the sense that sex, yes, is one portion of it. Emotional connection, caring, loving, all those different things factor in. So I don't dignify cheating, but I do have to say that I feel like I can understand, and I don't want to say sympathize either, but I can understand why some people would feel the need to cheat if they're not getting anything. What if you were with a girl, Justin, and she took care of you and she loved you in every shape of way, but she never touched you sexually? She's just not into it. It just has no sex drive and won't touch you, won't do anything. And like, hey man, go jerk off in the corner like for the rest of your life, as long as they're married. How would you be cool with that?
Why did I get married to this person?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm just saying, like, do you kind of get where I'm at though? Like, do you think
I just don't
two?
see how that would be a thing. I wouldn't get married to someone who had a little to no sexual appetite.
So you've never been with a girl. You're gonna sit there and tell me right now that you've never had a girlfriend, because I know I have. You never had a girlfriend or a wife or anything like that, or a partner that in the beginning you started dating, you fucked a lot like fucking rabbits, right? And you're fucking all that shit and you're doing it. And then the sex just drops down drastically.
Sure.
And it hasn't, right?
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it might seem good, and then it drops down. You still love each other, you still care about each other, but the initial needs, like, and that's always how it is. Whenever you date somebody in a relationship with someone, you go into that, what's it called? The butterfly phase, the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Where everything's good, everything's great. And then it starts to subside and go down.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's kind of our opinions on that. So we'll go to question 2. What are your thoughts on polyamorous relationships?
No, thank you.
I agree. I'm not interested. I don't personally feel like I'd be interested in being with someone who wants to be with someone else. I know there's a big community out there, a big swing. Let's just say it how it is, swinger community who are polyamorous, or, certain, on TikTok, you'll see it every once in a while, like, hey, look at my 2 husbands or look at my 2 wives and stuff like that. I know there's some religions. It's not, I'm going to sound like a douchebag here. It's not Arabic. It's not Saudi Arabian. It's some sort of, Indian. They wear like the, fucking like face mask covers, where they only, like, the women only show their eyes. You know what I'm talking about? I follow this one couple, and like in his religion and their culture, he like can have 2 wives, and they talk about these difficult conversations like about that, and apparently that's the norm for them.
Obviously, some people in their lives find ways to make that work. I think more often than not, it creates far more problems than it ever resolves.
Yeah. I mean, I have a tough enough problem keeping up with 1 and trying to make them happy. I couldn't imagine trying to make 2 happy.
I agree.
At all. Also, like, I feel like sex is very intimate to me, and it's a very personal thing. I don't think I could ever share that with somebody else. When I'm with somebody, I like to dedicate all I can to them. And I don't think I can, like, I wouldn't want to share my partner with anybody else, if that makes sense.
It completely makes sense.
Right.
Yes.
So polyamorous relationships, I think it's, culturally based. We're in a culture now, or at least, earlier, as a few years ago, I'd say, where like, monogamous, 1, 2. And nowadays, we're getting into this new kind of flow. If you look on TikTok, this swinger lifestyle has taken over, and this polyamorous lifestyle has taken over.
Yeah.
Where people are like doing this more and more and more. And that's okay. If that's what they're into, like, by God, that's just what you're into, and that's cool. At the end of the day, you're in charge of your own happiness. If you're ever unhappy, take a good hard look at yourself, because you were in charge of your happiness. Don't complain to anybody like, oh, I'm unhappy, I don't like this, because you have the ability to make change, and you have the ability to choose what makes you happy. It might not be easy. It might not be quick. It might not be fun, but you have the opportunity to make yourself happy. And if that's what makes them happy, that's fine. But opinions on polyamorous relationships, I think it's another thing, like a cultural thing, or maybe a religion-based thing. And if that's the case, that's cool. But for me, I definitely feel like that's not kind of like my go-to or what I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely there. Like, it's not so much me saying, hey, I think it's stupid, nobody should do it.
Yeah.
I suppose there are people out there that have made that type of situation work for them. I'd say it's certainly not for everybody. I would even go as far to say it's probably not for most.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think I could be in some type of situation like that. I would be too jealous. I'd be worried about my own feelings and everything else. I don't know. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Not shitting on people that are into that. And if you're listening to this and you are into that, or like you're, whatever the fuck, give us an email, give us a message, talk to us about that. But, personally, like it's a very intimate thing. And I think it's, like you said, it's not for everybody. And there's, obviously might be some issues that arise from that, but
You bet.
whatever. So we move on to question number 3. If you could date one celebrity, who would it be and why?
I don't know, man. That's a hard question for me.
Does it have to be man or woman?
Well, I would go with a woman.
Okay. All right, cool. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, dude.
All right. So
see, this is your problem.
What? All right.
It's finally time where we tell everybody what your problem is.
What's my problem?
You're a piece of shit.
All right. Here's what I feel like I would do. I just lost the email. I want to get this back up again. So if you could date one celebrity, who would it be and why? If I could date one celebrity, I'll tell you who it would be. You want to know?
Yeah, sure.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay, you got to give me the why.
Okay, so first of all, there was this one episode, like this comedy skit I saw her like way back in the day where she talked about wearing a thong.
There's no way I want to see Ellen in a thong.
Well, at the time, she's not terrible looking. She was definitely better looking back in the day. But she's not the worst looking. Anyway, so that's the one thing. Also, she's very generous. She looks like she's very loving and very
That's
caring.
why she changed her name to the Generous.
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres Human. Yeah, so for me, it's going to be Ellen DeGeneres. I think that, or now I'm like tossing up now. Is it Ellen DeGeneres or Rosie O'Donnell? Like, who am I choosing?
Well, you like them fake. So maybe it's Rosie.
Huh?
Maybe it's Rosie for you.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay.
In shape, gorgeous short hair, very nice, has some money. And that's the problem when you ask that question, if you could date any celebrity. Obviously, there's the option of money in there. When you date them, there is, money involved with that. And there's a little bit of social clout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll go with Ellen DeGeneres. I think, she might treat me right. And maybe I get like, a free cruise out of it or something like that. Something cool. A cruise. I don't know. Or maybe like a $100 Costco gift card, something maybe. Or a Hot Wheels car, something that she gives away or something like that. I don't know. Who was it that gave away the Hot Wheels car? Was it Oprah?
She gave away cars.
She said everybody in the audience gets a car, right?
Yeah, that's Oprah.
Like you get a car, right?
That's Oprah.
I thought she gave them all Hot Wheels cars.
No, she gave real ass cars.
Really?
Yeah.
When do you think we'll get to that point on this show?
Oh, it's going to be a minute.
Like maybe like a week or two?
Yeah, probably next week we're giving away cars.
Okay, cool. Well, Justin, let me know if you could date any celebrity, who would it be and why?
So, you know me. I like powerful women.
Oh, God.
So it's funny you mentioned Oprah because she might be an option for me.
Really? Okay.
But then I was even going another direction with that. I'm thinking, and you're going to love this, Hillary Clinton.
I said Hillary Clinton, dude. I said it, dude.
No, you said Ellen.
No. You didn't just hear me?
No. Nobody heard you.
Sean could probably do a rewind on this, dude. Like
he's going to do a rewind, and then you're going to look really foolish.
So let's make a bet now. We'll do it on the next show. Let's make a bet.
What's the bet?
So the bet is that I said when I asked you the question.
Well, I mean, what does the victor get?
So, here's the thing. When you said, let's get a brief synopsis. When you said you would date a woman and you like powerful women, I said Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you heard that, but I said Hillary Clinton. And then, so I did say it. Do we still want to go off the bet?
I don't know.
Okay, so the bet is if I'm right, I get to, I was thinking of one thing. Like next episode, you have to like be in like a Hawaiian shirt, but I get to put like a smudge of peanut butter on your nipples for like half the show.
I got a better one.
Okay. Yeah.
The person who's correct here. Well, see, I'm not going to accept this bet anyway, so I don't even know why I'm suggesting it. But we'll table this bet. I think it's a good one here. When we both come to an impasse on another topic where we're both willing to stand fast on, we'll use this one.
Okay.
The person who's correct, they will choose for the other person what to do with their mustache.
No, dude.
And they'll have to keep it that way as we shoot at least one episode. You might get a Hitler stash, dude.
So I get to so I have to wear it for a whole episode.
You gotta, or maybe I'll just shave like the left side of your mustache and keep the right.
Many episodes we decide to do in that time frame, we do it.
Yeah.
And that's not the bet for this one, right?
No, I won't agree to that bet because I'm not sure. Maybe I just didn't hear you on this. I need to be pretty confident for something like that. That's a heavy bet.
Okay.
That's a heavy one.
That's heavy.
I like powerful women.
Oh, God.
So
Hillary Clinton?
You mentioned Oprah because she might be an option for me.
Really? Okay.
But then I was even going another direction with that. I'm thinking, and you're going to love this, Hillary Clinton.
I said Hillary Clinton, dude. I said it, dude.
No, you said Ellen.
No. You didn't just hear me?
No.
All right, yeah, I could deal with that. So continue. I'm sorry. You said Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, Hillary Clinton would be great.
Is it because of her looks or her power status?
Definitely power status. I don't think. What do you mean looks? Are you out of your
mind?
What
if she said, "Hey, I want to date you," and you're like, "Yeah, cool. You're my celebrity date. Now we're dating, right? You're together. You're seen in public together."
Yeah, me, her, and the former president.
No, he's no longer in the picture.
Why is he not there?
Well, maybe he is. I don't know. Like, are they going polyamorous now?
I mean, if it's with Hillary, it's a whole different thing.
Okay. What if she's like, "Hey, Justin, like, I'm down to do this, and like, I'll give you you get Air Force One." I don't even know if she's allowed on Air Force One anymore.
I don't think so.
But if she's like, she probably has security, right?
I'm sure she has security.
So what if they're like, "Hey, you get security, you get all the fun stuff, you get, yada, 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 but you need to pleasure me and make sure that I'm satisfied."
I guess I'll take one for the team, man.
You could do it.
So the United States will remain safe? Yes.
I'm thinking of the Situation Room, and they're like, "Get Justin Tong in here," and you're like,
but I mean, how much pleasure does this one really require? She's what, 80?
No,
70? It's got to be 70.
Google it right now. You want me to Google? I'll Google it.
Yeah.
Google it.
How old is she? You want to put an over under on it for the mustache?
No, not this one. No, God. All right, fuck. Do it. No. We got to make it something good. Maybe we'll have some emails in on what we should do for a bet or something like that. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. If you got a good idea for some contest to see what happens to these mustache, hit us up at ingearpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go. So I'm going to type in this thing, right? Before I type any more letters, I got HI. Let's take a little bet. Not a bet, but a gentleman's agreement, right?
Okay.
I say she's 63.
All right. I say she's 71.
All right. What do you think she is?
71.
In what year do you think she was born? Just because you're wrong and I'm wrong.
1950.
She was born in the 40s.
Oof.
Yeah, she was born in the 40s.
Well, she's 78.
She is currently 75 years old.
There you go.
So, but I'm looking at pictures of her right now. She's really not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's honestly great, dude.
I'm looking at pictures right now, and honestly, she is not that bad. She was definitely better looking when she was younger, as most people are. But who was I think Cher's still alive, right?
Yeah, I think she's pushing 80 too.
No, she's still hot.
Nah.
Cher's hot.
Nah.
Are you serious? You know how old Cher is, right?
Stand by. Let me go ahead and find some Cher pics.
I'm looking at her pics right now. Oh, damn. Yeah, she's hot as fuck, dude. Don't tell me she's not hot. She's probably the hottest. She's the hottest 76-year-old you'll probably see. Let me see. We got to have Sean post some pictures of Cher up here.
So that's the thing about Cher, though, dude. At this point in time in 2023, she is older now than when my grandmother passed away.
Oh my god. That's okay.
You
Wow.
said she's what, 76?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's 76. But now I'm trying to look at this picture right now, and it's like a booty pic of Cher. Let me see. Yeah, dude, she's caked up. Yeah, 100%. 100% interested. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I'm down. I'm down for it. So, hey, listen, guys, we're going to take a break. You heard it here. We answer some emails. We're going to come back with from the next segment. We'll hit something a little more, dope and pretty chill. But hey, listen, we appreciate the emails. We appreciate the comments. Thank you to Carl at Keep in Tune with Carl Schmidt. Thank you to Penny Chacon for your STI question. And again, thank you, Arizona Can Sean for your questions. So
Absolutely. And thank you, Caitlin and Ted, for the comments on the videos.
yes, we love it all. And we love interacting with you guys. So we'll catch you guys next on the next half.
And welcome back to In Gear. Another great episode for you coming right this way. Second half of part 18.
Hey, can you just take the mask off for just the intro?
What?
Well, yeah, just take the mask off.
Do you know how hot it is in here, dude?
It's from the 80s, dog. They didn't just make it functional. It was all for looks.
Well, you can't see anything out of this thing.
What do you think of it? Do you hate it? Do you love it?
I hate this.
All right, well, continue
First of
on with your
all-
intro. I'm ready for it. Continue. I'm sorry. I just couldn't hear you at all. Go ahead, get your
Unbelievable,
slut
dude.
costume
The kind
on.
of shit you put me through.
Cool. Go ahead. Intro us. We're ready now.
Second half of part 18, episode 18, rather. I'm the Iron Giant, evidently, and that's Jalopy Jones.
Thanks.
Yeah, so the old Iron Giant mask, one, it needs eye holes. There are just no eye holes.
They're there.
No, look at this. There are little tiny slits right here that you can't really see anything out of. You have to use your peripheral vision and move your head around.
Is that not enough?
There's no mouth hole. It doesn't breathe.
They're on the sides by the hinges.
What?
Yeah.
No, my mouth's in the front. It's not by my hinges.
Well, what do you rate it out of a 10 being the best mask you've ever had?
Oh, I don't know, like a 4?
Oh, all right. Well, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Anyway, so here we go. I got a question for you, Justin.
Okay, good.
It's actually a topic that I could talk for days on this,
I'm ready.
but I want your opinion.
Are you ready?
Am I?
Yeah.
Look at this. I'm ready.
You know, I'm glad we got one of those. I don't think we've had one of those for a couple
I
episodes
don't think we
now.
have. I mean, like last episode, I think. Was it last episode? No, it was 2 episodes ago. I fucking poured whiskey all over myself. Were
Yeah.
you there for that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And
a
I
good one.
have to say, dude, for all the listeners or viewers or whatever the fuck you're doing that think that was like a fucking staged, for some reason that moment, dude, I felt to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm having this mental battle. I'm like, I haven't touched my drink in a while. I think it's because it's empty. You know what? Normally I'd be sipping every few seconds or so, like, or every few minutes. I'm like, I know it's empty. So I wanted to be like, hey, Justin, like, let's take a break. Look at this. Look at this, Justin. Bam. All over my penis. Just completely
Yeah,
wet.
dude, it went down your shirt, it was on your pants and everything.
It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun.
And then Sean gave us that nice rewind right there.
Oh my God, that was a great one. And also, let's give another shout out to Sean. Thank you to Sean Refmeyer. You know, fucking Vivid Productions, Vivid Illusions, Vivid something. Tag yourself in this video. Throw a fucking thing up on there at any point.
Yeah,
as you
throw
feel.
your own thing up there.
Yeah, throw your
Sean.
own thing up there. Thank you for always doing a great job at editing all our stuff. And also, if you guys have any photography needs, videography, anything that you may need, reach out to him. He has great prices. He certainly has great prices, for us, because I remember we researched a couple different, companies and
Right.
kind of like where they were at. And he always had the best prices.
Yeah, he's
And
definitely got the best price.
his turnaround time too was amazing. And every episode he seems to go above and beyond.
Now, I feel like he's missing the market. I know he's into photography, he does video editing, he does weddings, but are there really people that, specialize in like just straight butthole photography?
I think there is, but I think if there are people that specialize in it, Sean's going to be your guy.
Yeah, he could be a good butthole
He can make a
specialist.
chocolate starfish look pretty damn good.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
could have a nice piece to hang on your mantle.
Mhm.
People walk in and it'll be like, "What the fuck is that?" And you'd be like, "That's my shit shoot, dude."
Yeah. Sean did this.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So again, thank you, Sean, for everything you do, and we appreciate it greatly. So I got a question for you, Justin.
I hope you do.
Zombie apocalypse. Have you ever thought? Because I know for me, sometimes, like, when you're in bed and you're kind of just laying there thinking about shit. We both watched The Walking Dead, I'm sure, and we've watched any other slew of different zombie movies. Have you ever kind of thought about like what you would do or kind of like how you would handle that? And if it's easier, I can kind of give you I have kind of like a list, a couple topics that I kind of want to run through with you.
Okay.
But has it ever ran through your mind about kind of like, what would happen if this was even possible?
Yeah, so most of the time when I watch like these apocalypse shows, these zombie shows, there's one on HBO out right now. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I'm not.
Oh, what the hell's that called?
It's not The Walking Dead, obviously, right?
No, it's not The Walking Dead. It's this new hotness. It's based on that video game.
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us, yeah.
I've seen a bunch of that TikTok. I've never played the game, although I've heard great reviews, and I've never watched the show. But I've heard it was great.
My wife's into it right now. She's watching it, and she says it's pretty good. But I was watching that, and I've seen other zombie movies. And obviously, I think when you get yourself into a classic zombie scenario, first thing you have to do is, obviously figure out some sort of defense, whether that's guns or like baseball bats with nails in them or whatever you have.
Yeah.
You need to defend yourself from the zombies and probably try to evade and escape. But then quickly the concern also shifts to supplies and provisions.
So let's start off first. I think because one of my topics was prep. If a little to like when you look at like The Walking Dead and you look at like a lot of these series, it basically starts out from square one. Like, hey, somebody ate, like for example, in the movie Zombieland, they ate a bad burger at this burger joint. Boom, zombie apocalypse, right?
Whoa. I must have missed this once. You tell me the burger made the zombies?
Yeah. If you watch Zombieland in the very first scene and like the very first like 15, 20 minutes, he kind of runs it down as like, it's been this much time since patient zero ate a burger at this burger joint.
Wow.
Yeah. So, whatever it may be. So obviously it starts somewhere. So my question to you is, obviously there are preppers out there and people that prep. I'm sure you've heard of the show or seen the show on Discovery Channel, Preppers. Where like,
I think they're, ready for all sorts of scenarios.
Every sort of thing.
Whether it be some sort of government breakdown or whatever it is.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about a zombie apocalypse being imminent or happening? Or is that just like one of those things that like could never happen? Because I've watched a couple of YouTube videos and they kind of break it down on like what exactly would have to happen. Yep. And medically, what is the closest thing we can get to having a zombie apocalypse? And what they deduced that was like, you would have to have all these different ailments. This would have to happen. And it was a big chain. Basically, it's like 1 in 10 trillion. The odds are like 0 to none of if this was possible. But for prep, when we get into prep, the first thing you mentioned was weapons, right? Because obviously
when you're finding out about the zombies, it's probably because they're trying to beat down your door or something. You're not maybe you're lucky enough to see it on the news before the news station goes to shit or whatever.
Yeah, when that thing shuts down.
Yeah.
Internet goes down, cable goes down, energy goes down. Power sources, as in what's it called? What's when electrical companies have these giant grids that like power when they go down. So you mentioned something and you said whether it be like a gun or a baseball bat with nails in it.
Yeah.
I remember when you said baseball bat with nails in it, my first inclination goes to, I don't know if that's the right word, but my first kind of like thought goes to one of those old games for the Xbox 360, Dead Rising. Where you could like take all these different things and make all these weird different, you're in a mall, and you're making all these different weapons, or Left 4 Dead.
Sure.
That was a big series where you'd have all these things.
Wasn't there a game kind of like the Ark, but it was zombie based or something like that?
7 Days to Die. I play a lot. I've actually wasted all my life on it. That's a really good survival game. Like you start out with, you're naked, you make your own clothes, you make your own base, and you eventually build up to make all these good things. Very, very good game. I've wasted my life on that.
Cool.
But that brought up a really good topic, a really big question for you. You like, guns or baseball bat with nails? Guns, obviously noise, sound attracts.
Noise.
Or baseball bat or sledgehammer or pickaxe, whatever it may be. What are you choosing? Do you feel like...
obviously, if you're using any of those types of weapons, you're letting the zombies get a lot closer to you in order for those to be effective, which, especially if there's a large amount of zombies, could be a huge problem.
Yeah.
But of course, when it comes to guns, then you have to worry about where you're going to get your bullets from.
And I feel like it's also a trade-off. Guns equal noise, right? But
And
you can destroy them from a distance, right?
Sure.
But handheld weapons and that hand-to-hand combat, that really close quarters combat that is going to be obviously imminent with using those sort of weapons, that is like then you trade off distance versus loudness and closeness versus no sound,
Yeah.
right? So what would you say? You think it's a combination of both, or do you think
I think ideally, if you had both, you'd want to keep both, some sort of close quarters, quieter weapon, a machete, whatever you got. Really, I mean, in this type of situation, you're going to want to have whatever you can get your hands on. If you have some sort of go bag or whatever, like these, end of days kind of people, they develop.
Preppers.
That's fine. You're also going to have to think about other survival items, though. Like, unless you're living in a few places, maybe like Hawaii, most everywhere else is going to experience some type of winter. How are you going to survive that? How are you going to get through the cold?
And I think about when you just asked that, when you said Hawaii, with such a very big population density where there's so many people and obviously not enough supplies. I'd say that's pretty fair to say in a situation where it's like Hawaii, where you have so many people, infection will rise very quickly. Like, when COVID hit, it was a very big issue and stuff like that, because it's so condensed that you have no option whether, just you're always around other people, right?
Yes.
So in situations like this, there's a trade-off because, one, you can either shut down the island and kill the virus as it is and, just be self-sustaining, or it'll take over and everybody will just die on the island or become zombies. Now, when it comes to small towns, which I like to think of it as more like kind of like where I grew up in New York and where you were, where we lived in very small towns, I feel like there's more of like a survival, not capability, but it's easy. It might be easier to survive there. We both grew up with weapons.
I think it'd be easier to be off the grid, if you will.
Yeah, we both grew up with weapons, guns, farming. We're no strangers to stuff like that. So in a situation in that case, the virus might not spread as much and you can eliminate it and, like you said, live off the grid.
Sure.
So I think when it comes to the prepping aspect, you got that choice. Are you going to go close, hand to hand, or weapon? I think it'd be great to have both. For me, maybe a pistol, a 45, and, like you said, like a machete, a samurai sword, something that you can still keep distance. When it comes down to things like a hammer that you just happen to grab out of your shed or something like that, you're really getting super close. So my next question is, where would you go? You and your family are there and you're like, hey, where would you go if this happened? Are you staying in your home? Are you trying to move from your home? Like, just base this off of where you grew up in Kansas. If the situation
from where
was
I
to
grew
happen.
up, I might try to find some place. I grew up in a small town, but just outside of town is nothing but countryside. So I think I'd probably try to make my way out to the countryside, get away from where the biggest cluster of people are. And those people obviously could turn into zombies. And even the people who are surviving might be fighting over resources and stuff too. So I think I'd try to make my way out of town.
You think you'd find yourself building a shelter outside of town in the woods or something, like a cabin or whatever it may be?
Yes.
And like trying to sustain, like live off the land type deal? Or do you think you'd be doing runs into town and like trying to get medical supplies or something? Because
I think I would probably be making runs into town pretty regularly. So I wouldn't be too far out of town, because who knows if I have a car. And even if I have a car, do I have gas?
And is that noise?
And it's noise. So if I need to be walking distance to town, I probably don't want to be very far. But of course, with walking distance, you're spending a lot more time on foot going in and out of town. Maybe you can get a bicycle or something like that, or
like that scene from World War Z.
Yeah.
When they landed in Seoul, Korea. I don't know if you saw that scene or remember it, but basically Brad Pitt went with those scientists. They landed at K-16 in Seoul, Korea, and they landed at the airfield there. And they all the special forces guys came out on bicycles and stuff. And they kind of deduced that hey, noise attracts them. So I don't know. Are you familiar with that movie or?
I mean, I'm vaguely familiar. I'm not sure I've actually ever seen that one.
Yeah, so they're all about the bike. So I agree with you. I think that I would kind of be the same being where I grew up. Like, we had enough property and I'd be able to like kind of like just go out in the woods and like try to sustain, like make trips into town and whatnot.
Right.
But then I
But even
also,
then, that's not super sustainable. Like, I think you need to either think about farming and harvesting water from somewhere, like
yeah,
eventually, and it may take a while, but the grocery store is going to run out of Twinkies and all the food in there is going to spoil anyway.
hmm
Like, you got to figure out some way to get some renewable food,
sustainable.
renewable water.
Yeah.
And that's just your bare minimum to survive. Yes, you can probably get a good supply of medical supplies. Maybe not actually, because you got to think you're not the only person in this scenario. So maybe other people have already, broke into the hospital and cleaned it out.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because at the time that The Walking Dead first came out, my mother, RIP, she was going through some medical issues and she was on dialysis for a while, and she was doing at home dialysis. And I'm watching The Walking Dead, my mother's there, and all that, I'm just watching. I always think to myself, hey, as like this kid, who's coming up of age, like how would I help my family survive? And I think about how do I help my mother survive? How do I help her be able to, have dialysis or the medication she
Oh, she
needs?
was on dialysis?
Yeah, so she was on dialysis.
There's
She did it.
probably no way for her to survive.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's really rough. So I was like, do I have to go to like a dialysis center that was like 30 minutes away and rob supplies? Or like, so like it, and that's the other thing.
I
Like,
mean, what are you going to do? How are you going to operate the dialysis machine? I don't know
so
how
when it comes to
complicated they were.
dialysis, you can do dialysis that you go to a center where they put you on a machine, they filter your blood, and there's also at-home dialysis.
Yeah, but I hear that's not half as good though.
So
right?
it's okay. She used to still have to go to dialysis on the machine, but
Well, if she could do it all from home, why would she have to go to dialysis on the machine?
so like you said, it wasn't as good. So I remember, I feel like it was a long time ago. I want to feel like she was doing at-home dialysis for a long time, and it was able to sustain her for a while. But then eventually it had to go to in-center dialysis, where she was going, 2-3 times a week. But that just made me think about it like, hey, she was taking like 25 different medications. How can you get this many?
I mean, there's no real easy way to do that. I mean, unfortunately, it'd be the sad situation for a lot of people, but there are people that depend on certain medications, certain procedures, whether it's dialysis or whatever it is, that if they don't have access to that, they will not survive. And unfortunately, in this situation, it would probably be that case for your mother.
Exactly, I agree with you, and as of many other people, and their kids, their grandparents, whoever it may be.
Yeah.
You pretty much have to be in shape, fit, and healthy to be able to get through this, and hopefully, infection doesn't come into an issue. But that's the other thing too.
And then what are you doing too? Are you working towards like, are you planning out your moves in hopes that say a year or two or a shorter period of time will go by where there will be some sort of remedy where the government will develop a vaccine or whatever it is? Or are you thinking this is your way of life for the rest of your days? Because if you're thinking the way it's the way you're living now for the rest of your days, and you're going back to basically the Stone Age, if you will, then you're going to have to develop, a lot of equipment that is more sustainable. Whereas if it's only a couple years, you're thinking, then maybe you can, live off of the scraps in the town and drink from the stream, boil the water, and just get by and survive for a year or two.
It ain't going to be good.
It ain't going to be good.
It ain't going to be good.
You might be able to hunt, but then I don't know, depending on this situation here. And depending on how this theoretical virus were to come into existence, are the animals contaminated? Say they're not. Say they're not contaminated, then you can harvest animals and stuff like that. But if they are, then that's really going to make your food situation that much more dire. And I think, obviously, in a zombie type situation, yes, the zombies are going to be a very huge concern, and not getting attacked or bitten or any of that, but having sustainable food and sustainable water is going to kill a lot of people.
It's definitely like a 2, 3, 4 part question, scenario. It's like, yeah, cool. Like you're avoiding zombies. That's one of your issues. But then also it's like supplying yourself with whatever you need. Right.
Sure.
And that brings me to like one of my next topics is kids. What do you do with your kids? Like, do you have like, for example, hypothetically, your kids, obviously, maybe your kid needs medication. We just talked about that, whatever. What if like your spouse or your partner happens to get pregnant during that time? I've thought about
then it's just like, the old frontier days, man. If you're out there in the middle of a pasture and your poorly constructed house you're living in now, tent more really than anything, then that's where they're delivering this child.
I agree.
And you may have very limited supplies. You might have a couple towels. That might be it.
I've tried like really thinking about this and trying to find a way that's like sustainable and stuff like that. And when it boils down to it, right, when you look at these preppers and stuff that prep and they say, hey, we have enough supplies for like a year and stuff like that, that's good and all, but supplies run out, right?
Sure.
No matter, like, I don't know if you could prep. Maybe you can prep for like 5 years.
Well, what you do when you have a certain amount of prep, let's say you do get a year's worth of food that is obviously non-perishable, and you have water, or if you don't have water, you have equipment that can convert water into drinkable water.
Some sort of purification system.
There's purifiers. There's different chemicals you can put in water and drink it. Yeah, it'll leave a funny taste, but it won't kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe you've got a year's worth of provisions. Now, obviously, that depending on how long this catastrophe lasts, could be enough to get you by. But what it's doing is two things. It is getting you by for that short term, and it is it's giving you time where the rest of the people are weeding themselves out. They're killing each other, whatever it may be. And then you're dealing with a smaller amount of opposition as you have to go out still relatively well prepared and try to get food. And it gives you time too to develop, if you're growing crops, you got a year to start growing, whereas somebody else maybe has zero time. They need food now. So it gives you time to come up with solutions to these problems, whereas other people may not have that amount of time.
Yeah, I agree with you. Some people that aren't prepared really are working, right off the fucking cuff and like being like, okay, shit, now we have to like do this. Now we have to figure out all these answers to these questions instantly where these preppers obviously have everything, provisions and stuff like that, medical supplies, everything already laid out for them, right?
Yeah.
So then my next question is travel. Right?
Sure.
We already talked about maybe possibly like, running into town, doing town runs and stuff like that.
Sure.
And whatnot. Travel. Being in Kansas where you were, I'm not sure how your winters were. Would you feel or like that you would want to leave that area so you didn't have to deal with harsh areas, or would you stay put? Like, there's obviously like, what's that old game that was out for like the very old computers? My dad had one.
The Oregon Trail?
The Oregon Trail, right? Then they travel. I think they're trying to get to California or something like that, or Oregon.
Oh, I think Oregon.
Yeah, there you go. Oregon, right? I was thinking of the Beverly Hillbillies where they're trying to get to like, California during the gold rush.
Okay.
Yeah. Something like that, right? So travel. Do you find yourself staying in that same area? Or do you find yourself
here's an interesting scenario to throw at you. Given the fact we're now in 2023. So one of the biggest drawbacks to using a car is it could attract zombies, especially if they're semi-intelligent and they could, hear that noise and come try to attack you. But in 2023, we've got electric cars that produce almost no noise.
We do. But what if the grids go down?
Yeah, what if the grids go down? What if like the roads? Roads need maintained, and it may be good for 3 years, for 5 years, but over time, the weather, the sun, the wind, the rain, the ice, it's gonna tear that road up. So it's only got a few years where the roads are good.
Exactly.
That's why they always have to go on your favorite road, your favorite highway, or wherever you're from. It always seems like it's under construction because they have to maintain those roads.
I agree with you. That adds just another one of those other factors that really, you have to think about. And we're not saying the zombie apocalypse is going to happen.
And then when you say travel too, what are you talking about specifically? If you're talking about traveling, let's say in and out of town for provisions and things like that, that's one thing. Or are you talking about a scenario where, we heard that 100 miles away there's a camp and there's people there and they're working on a cure and all that, and you're trying to travel to that? Because if that's the case, obviously I feel like the car is going to be the way to go if at all possible. It's going to be a lot faster to cover 100 miles in a car than it would be walking. It would take a week or two walking probably.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had a car, you could probably do it in one day if the roads are usable.
Exactly. So when I think about travel, I think about instantly what comes to mind is like living in an area where for example, like Kansas or New York, where the winters may be harsh or they may be cold, right?
Yep.
Trying to get away from that and go to an area where it's generally more what would you say, like neutral climate. It's generally more like, not doesn't get as cold, doesn't get as hot.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Florida would be a great place to go.
Yeah, someplace like that, and a lot of those areas that have those sorts of climates, they're very well inhabited.
Well, yeah, for obvious reasons. People like
obvious
to live where
reasons,
the
yeah.
weather's nice. Yeah, absolutely.
So for
Now
me-
I think about Florida, though. I mean, yes, you're going to probably avoid the snow and everything, but they do get hurricanes. And do you want to be trying to figure out how to survive a hurricane
on top
in
of
the
zombie
middle of a
apocalypse,
zombie apocalypse?
Yeah,
I
no.
don't know. I might deal with a little bit of ice in that situation.
Yeah, I agree with you, right? And then like we were talking before, we run into things of like infection and stuff like that.
Yeah, simple injuries that
A
can
cut,
easily
a slice.
a simple cut or a slice or walking through some muddy, non-potable water. I mean, it could easily give you an infection, and then if you don't have any type of medicine, you're as good as gone. And I mean, I guess it's all a case by case basis because it's hard to say just from sitting behind this desk what the actual scenario would be like.
Well, I remember.
And what about this though? What if you were living coastally and you decided, all right, I'm going to go hijack a boat and push off into the water?
I thought about that too.
And live off of the fish in the ocean and just wait it out.
Scenario, obviously, it might be a little hard to be like a gas powered like fucking thing or something.
We're not
like
talking
that.
a rowboat. You're gonna need a big boat if you're thinking about living out there.
Like, because like honestly, sailing and a sailboat, wind power is sustainable, right? There'll always be wind, and you might not always have a dock where you can go get fuel for your boat from, right?
Yep.
So longevity, I'm thinking of, just sailboat living off of the, the fish in the ocean and stuff.
I got the perfect idea. You and me hijack a nuclear submarine. We figure out how to drive that thing.
Where do we get it?
From the submarine store.
The submarine store. Oh, that's so good. I'm glad you brought that up. So when we were talking about infection before, I just thought about this. I got a buddy, and he's in. I don't know what branch he's in. He's in. Jesus Christ, it might be the Army, but he was telling me this story about like I think he's Special Forces, and he went through one of these schools that like they teach you how to like deal with like being captured and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
And
okay.
he was telling me one of these stories about how like they're out in like the woods for weeks on end, and he winds up getting like a cut. And that was it. And it got infected. And they're like, the people that are like running this course are like, okay, well, that sucks. You're infected now. Like, okay, like just deal with it. And he was telling me about how like at one point, like he had like bugs and flies and stuff landing on these wounds he had and stuff like that, just for the sake of like this training course that he was going through. And that brings in like, kind of
whatever happened with that? I mean, do they ever get a medical attention or anything?
He finished the course up and they were like, cool, you passed. Now you're like Special Forces guy, whatever the hell. And, but he dealt with infection out there. And it happens a lot quicker than you think, especially something as minor as a cut will happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And but I do understand the whole, thing that you were talking about with like, hey, why not go on a sailboat? Why not go to an island? And I'm thinking about that one movie. His name was George Romero. He was a director. He made Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead movie.
Okay.
And then he came out and made this other movie called Land of the Dead. It was like a sequel to that. And I believe it took place in New York City or something like that. And they cut off one area of the city and like wound up moving and taking boats and ferries over to the other side of the island. But it was a twist. It was a plot twist. These zombies like saw that there was like, they were on this island that now has no humans or animals for them to feast on, but they see all these lights. So they wound up like walking through the water, underneath the water, and like kind of not swimming, but kind of like just walking all the way over and traveling through water.
Now, you know what? Yeah, I guess the zombies, they wouldn't need to come up for air. They're undead anyway. So
exactly. So you think about like to answer your question about like hey, what about like moving to like an area like going on a boat or going to like a little abandoned island and stuff like that? I honestly think that might be the best idea. But also, you're living off fish. That's what you're doing. You're getting some sort of desalination thing so you can transfer, make salt water potable and drink it. And then also supplies. You're limited on supplies. It's that catch-22 thing. Like, yeah, you might not see any zombies, but now you're kind of like on your own. Hopefully you you're good and nothing happens.
Yeah, maybe that's okay though.
As in how?
You know what? That doesn't sound like a bad life, though. Living on an island somewhere, even just void of zombies, like just chilling on an island. Say it's completely uninhabited or uninhabited, and it's just you, the island. Maybe you're lucky enough to have your family there, like a Swiss Family Robinson kind of situation, if you will.
So I have a question for you, and it's a hypothetical right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to tear a little piece out of this notebook I have.
Okay.
And I don't know if I brought this up to you. I ask a lot of people this question. So let me tear a sheet out. One. Well, it's a little tough. All right, cool. So we touched on zombies. It's great and everything like that. But I want to give you this scenario.
Okay.
So you're Justin Tong.
I have to be.
You're out there. You're like flying in a plane.
All right.
You're just by yourself. You're going to go land at some random, tourist location, whatever, vacationing. The plane kind of veers off course a little bit. Some storm comes in. Your plane goes down. It crashes into the water. You're knocked unconscious. You wake up and you're kind of like hanging onto a piece of whatever the hell, kind of like a castaway situation, right? You just wind up on an island, stuff like that. You're the only guy. You wind up on this island and now you're there and okay, survival instincts take over. You wind up being able to live on this island for maybe, let's put a time frame of 5 years. So let's fast forward. 5 years goes by. Obviously, you've made a hut. You have survived this long. You have no clothes anymore because the clothes you did have, the fabric's just shredded, torn up, just destroyed.
Of course, yeah.
So I wouldn't hate being naked that long. So in this scenario, you're naked. You have food. You're living well enough. Obviously, you want to get off the island because it sucks, but no one has came to rescue you yet. So one day you're out there like this, and you're like spearing your tiny little fish with your tiny little penis like you normally do. And you're spearing fish. And you hear this cruise ship roll up. First impressions.
Well, I'm going to try to signal it. I'm going to try to get their attention and get on that ship.
You signal it, right?
Yeah, light a big fire or something.
It comes over. And it comes up to the island as close as they could be. And they come over the microphone like, hey, are you like Justin Tong with flight 42069 420? And you're like, yes.
That's me.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
Hello. Help me. And they're like, yes, awesome. Like, we've been looking for you for years. Like, we saw the wreckage. There's a bunch of scrap, whatever the hell. We saw your fire. Are you good? And you're like, yes, I'm safe. Like, all right, cool. We're going to save you. And you're like, thank you. Awesome.
Yep.
You're butt naked at this point. And they're like, okay, cool. They toss over one of those rings. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The ring with a string. And they're like, hey, we want to pull you up onto our boat right now. We want to save you. Okay. What are you saying?
Yeah, let's do it.
Like, all right, cool. Yeah. But here's the thing. Over the mic. Here's the thing. We can't let you come on board. I'm sorry.
Why?
And they're like, well, here's the thing, man. You're naked and we have women and children on board. So we can't really let you come on board naked, bro.
All the women and children go inside.
Yeah, they paid for the cruise. They can't tell them that. What? Well,
you got no clothes.
What would be your what would be your reaction?
I don't know. Fuck you guys. What do you want me to do? Get a leaf? Try to make some sort of little throw me down a shirt or something. I don't know.
What if they're like, no, we can't do that. They're $45 from the gift shop, and we just can't afford that, right? They can't throw you down a shirt. So they do this.
You can't afford a $45 shirt.
They do this. They're like, hey, here's this. And this, as big as it may be, they toss it down. They're like, cover yourself up with this. Now, here, take the piece. Here, I'm handing the piece. Here, take the piece. They hand you that, and they're like, hey.
This isn't even a full piece. I couldn't even get a full
It's
piece.
like half a receipt they found on the deck of the cruise ship. And they're like, hey, cover yourself up with that. As soon as you're covered up, we'll wait here, and we'll hoist you back up. No. I'm not saying it has to be. Lean forward so the viewers could see.
They can see.
No, they can't see. I'm looking at you. You can't see. Yeah, so they're not talking about nipples, man. They're talking about shaft. That's the issue. What could you do with that piece of paper? Like, honestly, like this is your way of getting off this island. What could you do with that piece of paper to help you?
Not much.
You couldn't fashion that piece of paper into some sort of clothing.
I think I'd try to develop my own loincloth. This is a horrible scenario, first of all.
I'm telling you, dude.
Like,
hear me out.
throw me down like Sailor Bob's shirts. Throw me one of the beach towels you have on the sun deck. Like, there's plenty of other things. You got a tablecloth? Like, a roll of toilet paper I could do more with than that. No, this is stupid.
What if they're like, what if they're like,
I mean, what would happen if like you were going down the slide on the cruise ship and your shorts ripped and they ripped off? They're gonna grab you and throw you overboard because there's women and children on board? No.
what if they're like, we have a used Cheetos bag. It's not the big bag, but it's like the small package size, like this big. Could you do something with that? That's the last offer, man. Just give me your answer.
I don't get paid enough for this, man.
We don't get paid anything.
I know.
So what are you doing? Cheetos bag. Because I'll tell you what I do.
I mean, I'm just going to stuff my shit in the bag, dude, and try to see if they'll let me on the boat. What do you think I'm going to do?
Just picture you standing there, a full beard, your little dong, and you're stuffing it into a bag. And you're standing there like, all right, I did it. Can I come on the boat now?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to get on that boat. And I'm going to start killing people, dude.
No.
Whoever's
Here's
making
what
these
happens.
rules about these, oh, you don't have any pants on. I'm going to find that guy. Loudspeaker guy's going down, man. As soon as I get on that boat, I'm going to get a pair of pants, maybe a shower, maybe a beer, and then I'm going to, and then maybe a beer, and then I'm going to murder him. He's dead. Like, as soon as he says that, you just killed yourself, dude.
So you get up there.
Yeah.
They throw the ring out to you like, okay, the Cheetos bag is enough. You stuff your shit into the Cheetos bag.
Yeah.
Right? So they're towing you up. They got like a group of like 10 guys like kind of pulling the string. And this is you like up the side of this boat. And your cheeks at this point, because they're not covered, which they don't care about cheeks. Your cheeks are scraping along the side of the cruise ship like every time they do it, right?
Yeah.
So they're towing you up. And all of a sudden you look over your right-hand shoulder like this. And you get a glance of the Lido deck or like the topless deck. And there's some like women out there with their tits out.
Right.
And you look at it and you haven't seen a boob in like 5 years now. So you see this boob, right?
Okay.
You instantly start getting erect. And when you become erect, the Cheetos bag starts to fall off. So they reverse. So they start letting you down. So as you're going up, like, yay, I'm getting saved. Like, oh, what would you do in that situation where the fact that you saw a boob in 5 years, now the Cheeto bag is futile because you're getting hard? How do you feel like you could sustain?
This is the most ridiculous scenario I've ever heard.
Dude, people say it's crazy. And people have always told me, hey, Thomas, you're crazy for asking this stuff. But when you get in that situation, you're going to thank me for it.
Yeah, I guess it'll suck because I'm getting lowered back down in the water. What do you want?
You're so genuine and so nice.
Am I supposed to be like, yeah, no.
It'd be so shitty to see you get lowered back into the water. Okay. All right.
Cool. Here's what you boat people need to do then. Since you now know where I'm at, send another boat with a pair of pants. There you go. Problem solved.
pants. What if they're like, hey, listen, man. Okay. Okay. All right. Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. Oh, God. Let's wrap it up. Zombie apocalypse. Could you survive or could you not?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think my chances of survival are relatively low.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight up.
Well, I think I'd survive pretty well.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
You know me, Farmer Tom. So
I could see you running down the street with some zombies chasing you.
you're such a piece of shit.
Somebody help me, please.
And you're probably naked in that situation with a Cheetos bag on your penis. Like, oh, dude, you're good. You're good.
Man, that really gets your blood pumping with my Cheetos flavored penis, doesn't it?
Cheetos flavored penis. Well, listen, Justin. It's been yet another great, sensual episode of In Gear Podcast. Do you not feel the same?
Well, you know what you always get when you get over here onto the old In Gear side of things?
Tell us what we get.
Is you're going to get stories you're not going to find on almost any other podcast out there. You're not going to hear this when you tune into Joe Rogan.
No.
So if you're tired of that mainstream bullshit, welcome to In Gear Podcast.
If you're looking for the real answers.
Yeah.
The real stuff, the real hard-hitting questions that everybody's too afraid to ask. We're there for you. Well, listen, guys. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for the comments.
Hey, stay
Thank you
tuned for the winner of that drawing, too.
Oh, yeah. So I don't think it'll be this episode that we announce the winner. I think we'll wait till episode 19 to announce the winner.
Yeah.
But like, you know, as you guys saw last episode, you kind of got to watch the full episode from beginning to finish. We ask a question in the first, whole portion of that episode.
Yeah.
I actually can't even tell you what portion of it was. But we ask a question.
It was middle,
sure. Listen to the whole thing because we revert to it a few times. And then, listen to the thing, kind of like get us an answer. And the first person that commented is the person that won the prize. So we'll review it on the next thing. We'll send out that stuff. And I think it's safe to say between me and you that is the first of many little giveaways that we'd like to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Get on the old giveaway train. You tune in here, you get free shit. Free.
You just got to answer a question. That's it.
You're going to learn about buttholes. You're going to learn about shitting yourself. You might know a thing or two about zombies by the time we're done with you.
Yeah. And if you don't, then now you know. And if you guys have opinions about zombie stuff, let us know, comment, hit us up, and, let's chat about it. So, hey, listen, guys, you're listening to another episode of In Gear Podcast. I'm Titty Twister. That's Jeremiah, the Jewish guy.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll catch you next week.
Thomas and Justin.